Hi there, good noon, dot on point at noon, and here we are with our final leg of the preparation. So you realize we have just a shade over 50 days to go to the CAT, and let's take this opportunity to work together, go ahead and talk about some more question types, some more passages, some more approaches. Let's continue to refine them right to the D-Day. So this is the part 1 of my 100 most important CAT VARC questions. So prior to this, I was running this series on 500 most important VARC questions. I decided to start you early, and we've had a really long run to that. And now that we're in the final leg, let's pick up stuff which is more challenging. Let's pick up stuff which is closer to the CAT difficulty level, or at times even higher than that. And that's basically the goal. So I welcome you to BYJU'S exam prep channel that is dedicated to your success as a B school aspirant. My name is Vikrant. I'm your personal coach for all things related to English and communication skills. I occasionally also dabble into the psychological aspects of preparation. In fact, just yesterday I took a session on time management. If you are somebody who has some issues with that particular aspect of your preparation, you should really go ahead and check that out too. And before I move ahead, you know what is going on. Second last day today. I'm calling it a second last day because why would we really wait for the 8th, right? Make sure that you wrap it up by tomorrow evening and be done and dusted. Carry your learnings, carry your key takeaways with you to the next session with me, and we'll go ahead and talk about it, right? So I have brought in 2 passages for you today. Both of them present some unique challenges. Both of them would present some challenges which are different. So in the first one, the challenge is going to come from the subject matter and the question types. In the second one, the challenge will come from the unfamiliarity with the language and the close options for some of the questions. So you need to bring your A game while leading to elimination. So as usual, here are the directions for the first passage. There are, yes, 5 questions. I will show you one paragraph on the screen at one point of time. Please read that paragraph, and once you are done reading it, let me know so that I can take you over to the next one. Okay, so Gaurav, Srinivas, Priyanshi, Anish, are we all ready? Is there anything that you want to ask? Any question, issue or concern? Anything which has been bothering you otherwise? You know, some aspect of preparation that you haven't really managed to get a handle on yet. Right, so maybe we can go ahead and talk about those. Any concern, any issue, any question, anything that has been bothering you whatsoever? ओके, पैराजम्बल्स मॉक्स में मार्क्स नहीं यार पता है अभी ना 50 दिन है अपने पास. हाँ, थोड़ा स्पेसिफिक करो ना क्वेश्चंस या कंसर्न्स. जैसे गौरव बोल रहा है यार पैराजम्बल में एक्यूरेसी नहीं आ रही. देखते हैं, चलो पैराजम्बल से रिलेटेड कुछ सेशन करने की कोशिश करते हैं. हाँ, तो उससे हमें पता चल जाएगा कहाँ से इशू आ रहा है, कहाँ से चैलेंज आ रही है, एंड देन वी कैन डू इट, फोकस ऑन दैट. Besides, otherwise, if you ask me a generic question, I can give you a generic answer, but then the generic answer may not be really great when you have 50 days. So make your questions really very specific, and then we can take it up from there. Okay, so take a couple of deep breaths. Man, even I needed that. And let's get ready to read our passage paragraph by paragraph. So here is the first para on the screen. Let me know once you're done reading it. In fact, the first 2 on your screen. Victor says how to attempt more questions with less why do you want less accuracy? ये नई चीज है, ये नहीं पूछते लोग कि accuracy घटाऊं कैसे. Sai, we will talk about fill in the blank questions in our non-CAT exam sessions. So we will definitely look at that, yes. Okay, next. Okay, it's just a sentence in this paragraph, so taking you over to the next one now. Okay, next. Okay, next. Next. So countenance has multiple meanings. In this particular context, it will mean support. Okay, here arousing offense is leading to offense in me. You know, for example, there are things that make you upset, so those things arouse anger in you. They give birth to or lead to an increase in anger in you. So that's what arousing in this context means. Okay, next. Next. Okay, and here is the last paragraph. Victor and Jaiho are playing the game of assumptions and inferences. So why God has given all of us a particular face. Now, if I do not smile, my face looks stern and sad. That's how it is designed. That's the template that we use. Try this. I'm not portraying any expression. This is how I look. So it's only when I smile it appears normal, but then I don't smile. I can't smile all the time, right? So, you know. Okay, so ready for the questions? Here is question number 1. Prashna Sankhya 1. Here it is on your screen. Which one of the following best captures the main idea of this particular passage? Okay, so Prasanna has set the ball rolling with his take. Let us see what others say on this. Okay. Absolutely wonderful. The correct answer is indeed option C. Since all of you have gotten this, I don't need to explain it. Here is the next one. Oh, Vedant actually went on to choose D. Vedant, D does not talk about cancel. See, the core is, remember, bad points about Aristotle in 3 paragraphs, and then therefore he deserves to be cancelled. But then the author says, hey, but I believe he should not be cancelled because of these and these reasons. So that is where C scores. That is where C scores over D. So what is inegalitarianism? Egalitarianism is a belief that everybody is equal and therefore they deserve equality and equal opportunities. So when you are an inegalitarian, you do not believe that everybody is equal. Now D is something that is the first option that we rule out. D says Aristotle's belief, should be Aristotle's belief that people who lack virtue can demand equal recognition. Let me in fact fix it in the PPT itself so that we don't have this issue moving forward too. Okay, now Aristotle actually went ahead and stated the opposite of it. Aristotle went ahead and stated the opposite of it. Believe that people who lack virtue can demand. Aristotle said that people who lack virtue cannot demand. Let me just take you to the right part. Here it is. People who cannot or do not acquire virtue have no grounds for demanding equal respect. So you notice this part actually tells you that D is wrong. D contradicts the passage. So D is ruled out. The answer cannot be D. What else? So none of you have picked up B, that's correct. There is no deep-rooted prejudice. So the other people that you're talking about, Kant, Hume, they were racists. Racism is a prejudice. So Aristotle did not have that kind of a prejudice and therefore B is ruled out. So that leaves you with A and C. So as C says, Aristotle's unparalleled philosophy of rationalist dualism. This was not a philosophy of Aristotle. If you look at the passage, and let me take you back. I think you can use a seeker to go back, but Descartes. This was a theory given by Descartes, and therefore even C is factually incorrect and can be ruled out. That actually leaves you with A. So if you were to use the process of elimination, you'd actually reach A. Some of us who've actually picked up B, again, you can look at the question too. The question says, what justification does the author make? So is B offered as a justification? It is just an extension. It's just, even if you interpret it or look at it in the context, it will just be a fact. It will not be a justification. So that's how we could have ruled all of these different options and narrowed it down to the correct answer. Here is the next one. Which of the following is the author? Which of the following the author is most likely to agree with? Prasanna, when you say passage, what do we mean by this? As in, we did read the passage, no? And you can go back, it's YouTube. Okay, it's D or A. Okay, Jakra, has the author mentioned a conversationalist in the passage? Is it mentioned anywhere? The author does say that a philosopher can avoid hostility. A conversationalist has not even been mentioned in the passage, and anything which is not mentioned, we cannot really determine whether the author will agree with it or not. So A is ruled out. So let me help you with that at least. So what else? So considering that A is ruled out, I think the next best answer choice for us is going to be option D. We can at least infer the first half for sure, and therefore it can help us with the answer. Here is the next question for you. This is more of a specific detail question, so make sure that you use the seeker to go back to the right part and then answer. And let me once again highlight, we are asking for the one which is not the trait. Okay, there is a paragraph that begins with, there is a paragraph that talks about what makes speech truly free. Remember, that's the paragraph that you need to go to. That's the second last paragraph. So let's go. What makes speech truly free is the possibility of disagreement without enmity. So this is given in option A. So A is a trait. We are looking for something which is not a trait. So A is ruled out. Vedanta is ruled out. C, it has more to do with manner of utterance. Let me once again take you back. Focus on this. This is less a matter of what we can say than how we can say it. So how we can say it, how is the manner. So C is also a trait, a characteristic. So this is also ruled out. So it has more to do with the manner. It has less to do with what was said, more to do with how it was said. So manner is more important. So what's your answer now? B or D? So B is also mentioned in that paragraph. It remains disengaged from classification. Therefore, B can also be ruled out. And D, it invites a non-literal interpretation. No. It invites is something that you cannot really conclude on the basis of the paragraph, and therefore you can go ahead and choose D as your answer. And with that, let's dive into the last question based on the passage. Which of the following best describes author's attitude towards Aristotle? This should be easy. Let's see. So in all such questions which deal with author's emotions and attitude, what's the starting point? So answers, guys, answers. Okay, so the best answer. So the first step is you basically think of whether the author's attitude is positive or negative or neutral. So in this case, the author is positive, right? He's leaning in favor of Aristotle. He wants us to study Aristotle, which means that options B and C can be ruled out. B says dispassionate impartiality. That's neutral, right? Detached ambivalence. If you're ambivalent, then you're definitely not positive. Ambivalent is you're not able to make up your mind whether the person is right or not, right? So that's again sort of neutrality or moving a touch towards negative. So B and C are gone. That leaves you with A and D. A says enthusiastic advocacy. Hey, enthusiastic advocacy is you're all for Aristotle. But the problem is that the author has also talked about the negatives of Aristotle. And he agrees with those negatives. It is just that he says that despite those negatives, we should study him because he can still benefit us. So that enthusiastic is something that we'll have a problem with. Now, if I compare it with D, D is qualified. Qualified is that, okay, when something is qualified, it basically means that there are conditions that apply. So the author has kind of attached those conditions, right? He admits that there are things which are bad. At the same time, the benefits outweigh the harm that can be done or the costs that it incurs, and therefore, I think D should be preferred over A. So enthusiastic is not correct. Qualified should be preferred over enthusiastic. I have no problem with the second word in both of these option choices, okay? Advocacy or admiration. So that's why D. And with that, let's dive into our next set of questions, which is another RC passage. And as I said, in the second passage, the challenge will come from the language, whereas the previous one, the challenge came from the subject matter. So let's look at this particular nuance as well. Passage 2, I normally take you through paragraph by paragraph, but in this passage, there were 2 paragraphs which were like very long. I could not fit them onto a single slide. So in those 2 paragraphs, I had to split them across 2 slides. So I hope you'd be able to continue that chain of thought over those paragraphs. So here is the first part of the first paragraph for you on the screen. So done. Okay, here is the next part of the paragraph. Okay, next. So apothecary is a shop that sells medicines or drugs. Nowadays we call it pharmacy. In my part of the world we call it a chemist shop. Done? Okay, here is the next. Done? Not yet apparently, but should be close. Okay, here is the next one. The next part rather, okay, so it just continues. Unclean, extremely hurtful to the mind and body. He catalogued the numerous sources of evil smells. Oh, Sushri, you can always pause and then catch up. Huh? I'll create some time towards the end. So here is the next one. Okay, and here comes the last paragraph. Done? So if you are done, then here is the next question. What is the central theme of the passage? Go ahead and give it a shot. So you know what we do in main idea questions. If you look at A turns out to be narrow. Okay, B, give a historical account of evolution of our sense of smell which led to olfactory revolution. Is it talking about how our sense of smell evolved over history? Is it a passage based on biology or culture? So it's a passage that is based on biology or a passage that is based on culture? Moreover, which olfactory revolution are we talking about? So B is what we'd call out of scope or irrelevant, alien. So even B can be eliminated. B can definitely be eliminated. A we can still keep in running. Okay, see, to share the cultural history of odor in early modern times, that's better. That's still compared to B. This passage does talk about starting from Shakespeare and then bringing it to around the 18th century. And then explain the concept of noisomeness over the centuries. No, it was about odor and not noisomeness. This is once again, I wouldn't even call it narrow because noisome has been introduced in a paragraph, but even there, they've not talked about this concept over the centuries. So D can also be eliminated. So between A and C, A is narrow, C is not. C covers a larger part of the passage and therefore should be our answer. So you notice we just go ahead and look at narrow, broad, contradictory or alien, out of scope, eliminate those, and what you are left with is going to be your answer. With that, here is your next one. Question number 7. I rarely ask this question from you, and I rarely ask it because the examiner rarely asks it, but let us see how you deal with this. Which of the following is the most likely profession of the author? Okay, so let's dive into these options. So first and foremost, let us understand what these words really mean. So literarian is somebody who studies literature. So somebody who studies literature is called a literarian. Then you have aromacologist. Aromacologist is a person who studies smells, right? So somebody who studies smells, odors, fragrances, whatever. Literary critic, as the name suggests, is somebody who goes through the works of literature and then critiques them, tells you whether they are good or bad, and if they are good, what makes them good, if they are bad, what makes them bad, what are the hidden nuances, hidden meanings, all of those. And historian is somebody who goes on to study history. Now, we know that the author has gone through, is there anything in this part that tells you that he is an aromacologist, somebody who studies smells? The author has essentially confined himself to a lot of different books where smells are discussed. So a lot of books where smells are discussed, but not smells per se. Similarly, he talks about the history of smell, but he is not talking about the history of an era or a particular period or a particular time. So D is also unlikely, and between A and C, the author has not only read literature, he has also evaluated it. He's also told us some insights about those pieces, and therefore it is better to call him a literary critic than to call him a literarian. Literarian will be somebody who just studies literature. Okay, a literarian won't really talk about things like these. Let me just, there is a particular sentence which will definitely help us. This, you notice? So we are talking about what Caroline Spurgeon has said, then we are quoting something from Shakespeare, then we are talking about a book, then we are talking about another book. So he's essentially giving you his take on a lot of different books with respect to their dealing with the smells, and that is where I think literary critic will be better than a literarian. Aromacologist will look at smells, and an aromacologist is unlikely to focus only on the way smell is portrayed in different books. Aromacologist will actually, come to think of it, if you study smells, what kind of passage would you write? You would actually talk about the earliest ingredient, the discovery of fragrance, and then how those oils, etc. came about. You would not go ahead reading tons of books where different people have talked about smells. And that is why C is the best answer choice for you. Okay, here is the next one. So, author shares the story of a privy cleaner, toilet cleaner, in order to. So what is the purpose of an example or an instance? To elaborate upon a point, to make a point lucid, easy to understand, or to support a point. So which one of these points has the author supported with the help of the story of a privy cleaner? Fun games, we don't have F. But if you refer to the respective paragraph, relevant paragraph, sorry, not respective, relevant paragraph, you'd notice that it actually starts with B. So it is an instance given to prove this particular point. So B it is. I think most of you have managed to get this right. Here is your next one. फन गेम्स अपना मस्ती में लगा हुआ है. हाँ, Sushri, C talks about people in general. He was not talking about people in general being sensitive. He was talking about a person who was sensitive to good fragrances and was brought back to his senses when he inhaled something which is generally considered bad. And D is not even linked with the example of a privy cleaner. That is discussed in the last 2-3 paragraphs. Okay, so if I look at A, everything else in A is great, but primary is something that cannot be inferred from the passage. Okay, B, familiarity generated acceptance, encounter with an unfamiliar set could lead to discomfort. Yeah, I think second paragraph. So this is true. Not in the late 17th century, it was done later. Okay, D, many diseases in the past like plague and malaria were caused because of the pollution. Let me apply a label. Not true. Now you look at it and say, come on sir, it is given in the second paragraph. See, according to the passage, people considered that bad air was causing it. Bad air was not causing it in reality. People thought that they are caused by these things. People considered bad smell to be a cause. In reality, whether it was a cause or not is not something that we can determine, right? And therefore option D can be eliminated, and that is why the best answer is answer B. I told you, I'm going to use close answer choices in this passage. Fun games, where is the passage? Yeah, you are on YouTube. We read the passage just a little while ago. So use the seeker to go back to the passage, and then you can pitch in. So I thought that a lot of you are going to mark D because I've created that trap for you in this. Were those diseases being caused? No. You're wiser. Come on, tell me, is malaria actually caused by bad air? Back then people thought that it is caused by bad air. It's not the reality. It was just their presupposition. Okay, and here is your question number 10. Give me the tone of the author. So first up, the tone is positive, negative, neutral. What would you choose? Rahul, that's excellent. B was in fact the right option too. And thereafter you can go on to eliminate. Hopefully that will help. Okay, so let's start with eliminating option C. Why? What is histrionics? If an author is histrionic, it means that he is overly dramatic. He's acting like somebody who is crazy. So let's rule out histrionic. Pedantic is negative. Pedantic is where you get into too many technical details and you forget whether your audience is able to, or your readers are able to understand it or not. You avert attention to small details. So even that can be ruled out. That leaves you with A and B. Now whenever a person is subjective, that person shares his or her own opinion. If the author is being subjective, then he is relying on his own opinions, his own experiences to give shape to some idea, some thought. But this is a passage where the author has not shared his own opinion. He has merely stated or reiterated what others have said about smells. And therefore, even subjective can be eliminated, and thus the answer must be option A. So that's about our practice for the day. If you liked working with me, don't forget to hit that like button and show some love. That means a lot to me. And once again, here is a food for thought. You want to fly, right? So give up anything that weighs you down. It basically means that just focus on your preparation. Anything that comes in the way should be left out. Okay, and don't forget that you're supposed to write your All India mock within the next couple of days. For more practice, join us for these 7 PM sessions on this channel as well as the app, where we talk about NMAT kind of questions. In fact, we faced some technical issues in our verbal reasoning 2 session, which was conducted on Monday, if my memory serves me right. So we are conducting that session again at 7 PM today. So if you missed out on attending verbal reasoning 2 live, today is your opportunity to do that once again. And for even more practice, you can enroll in our test series or our comprehensive program, which has produced stellar results. And to make it easy for you, we are giving you a free 3-day access as well as up to 90% scholarship, provided you write a test today. Not today, sorry, tomorrow, and perform well there. Okay, so that's it from me today. I look forward to meeting you guys once again at 7 in our NMAT critical reasoning session. Some of you were asking me about how to improve critical reasoning. Join me at 7 and we can talk about it in greater detail for sure. Okay, so see you there. Until then, stay safe, stay focused, stay in touch, have a great day ahead, and let's meet at 7.